I got a fun idea baking in the oven for today. Time to get to work. Today I'm going to make a 2-part silicone mold of this. Well, not of a cardboard box, but rather these. They're real cupcakes that I picked up at a local bakery. I wanted to challenge myself in making a mold of something that is very delicate. The challenge here is that the frosting can be damaged with even the slightest touch, as well as it can melt if it warms up too much. The trick to making a mold of these will be building a mold box around the cupcake that doesn't disturb the frosting, as well as using a molding material that cures quickly and doesn't heat up when curing. When I was searching for cupcakes for this project, I had to find ones where either the cake batter rose to the top of the cupcake liner, or the edge of the liner was covered by the icing. The reason for this is that the paper is too thin to cast properly. To start, I need to cut out pieces of styrofoam that will fit into the pieces of PVC tubing. Next, I'll need to cut out a hole in 2 of the discs so that the cupcake will fit into them. The purpose for this is to get the silicone to stop at the halfway point of the cupcake. This is where the split will be for the 2 halves of the mold. Normally, I would use clay to fill in any gaps between the mold box, the mold subject, and the styrofoam spacers. Due to how delicate the cupcake is, I'll just have to rely on the styrofoam this time and cut off any silicone that makes it past the spacers. The cap nuts are being used to create voids in the silicone. The voids will in turn be filled with silicone when I cast the second half of the mold and serve the purpose of being registration points when the 2 halves of the mold are put together. Now it's time to mix up some silicone. Normally I use Smooth-On's Mold Max 30 for making my molds. That's the pink silicone that I usually use. For this project I went with Smooth-On's Mold Star 16 Fast. It has a 6-minute pot life and a 30-minute cure time. I'm not sponsored by any of the products or tools used in this video, it's just what I'm using. Oh, no. I forgot to secure down the cupcake. Well, that's a waste of non-inexpensive silicone.
Gentlemen, it has been a privilege playing with you tonight.
Well, I'm just gonna cut that off and deal with it later. Alright, moving forward. The partial amount of silicone that was poured into this one has partially cured, so when I finish pouring the rest, it shouldn't float like the other one. Now that I've cleared the styrofoam spacer out of the way, I need to cut off any pieces of the silicone that made its way down to the bottom half. Next I'll use hot glue to glue a dowel to the bottom of the cupcake. The dowel will leave a void in the silicone and the opening will be used to pour the expansion foam into the mold. I fully coated the surface of the silicone with mold release. If I didn't, the new silicone would bond with the first half and I would have a block of silicone with a cupcake inside. I have to say really quick that opening this mold with the cupcake inside smelled amazing. I really wanted to eat some of it, but it's been contaminated by the silicone and I didn't want to risk making myself sick. It took a bit of doing, but it's all clean. Next, I need to remove any stray pieces of silicone that would cause a problem when casting cupcakes. Now I'm going to build a casing that will hold the 2 halves of the mold together when casting cupcakes. I cut these pieces of 2x2 to be about 1/4 of an inch shorter than the silicone mold. This way, when it's all assembled, the two halves of the silicone will be firmly pressed together. Next, I'm going to drill holes all the way through the 2x2s. I drilled the holes as deep as I could from one side, then flipped it over and finished them from the other. Time to make some cupcakes. Well, that's not good, and as it is, it'll never make a seamless cupcake. I use these hose clamps to try to keep the foam from squishing out the side. Alright, I'll try it again. Well, it would appear that I solved one problem to create another. Next time, I'll use a little bit less expansion foam. Alright, I'll try it again, one more time. But before I show how that turned out, I have a few other things to cover first. I did end up sanding and painting the wooden frame some fun colors. I actually made this mold back when I was making my fake pies. I sent the cupcakes along with the pies to be painted by Jess Paul. You can find a link to her channel down in the description. But before I reveal what they look like, I need to go back, way back, and show what happened to the other cupcake. I opened it up like I did with the first cupcake, and cut off all the extra silicone around the cupcake. Once I got it to sit at the right angle inside the tube, I glued down the PVC tube and filled in the open area with cured chunks of silicone. I then poured fresh silicone over the whole thing. There ended up being some voids left in the final mold. I'm going to try to fill in this big one as best as I can. It's not perfect, but it's good enough compared to what it was before. Now, I'm going to cut the whole thing open. I'm using a brand new blade for this so that I get a nice clean cut. I made this curvy cut so that the mold will fit back together only one way. Well, it looks like this one has an even bigger problem than the other one. Or I'm just terrible at judging how much expansion foam to use. Nah, it's definitely the mold's fault. It's not too bad considering what it was. Here is the result from the last cupcake from the first part of the video. That's probably the best one yet. Now, for the final reveal. And there they are. I don't really have much of a wrap-up for this video. I really just did this project to challenge myself a bit. With a few of the goofs that I made, it definitely was a challenge. I made a lot of molds this past year, and I wanted to do something that was a bit different than the others. Be sure to check out Jess's channel for more fake food content, and again, thank you Jessica for helping me with the paint on these. Since this is the last video of 2021, I hope that you have a happy new year, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for checking out my videos all this year.